History buffs, you're gonna love this one. Built circa 1805. The question is 1804, 05. We're not exactly sure, but we're gonna call it roughly 1805. For round numbers, that makes it 220 years old. So if you like history, this is right up your alley. If you like old homes, this is right up your alley. Built with kind of a Georgian style. You'll see those sorts of features inside when we get in there. One thing that I want to talk about, this is situated on 14.5 acres, give or take. We're only about 1,500 feet inside the Franklin County line from Wake County. We're in Youngsville. But the Little River backs around kind of the side and the back of the property back there, so it's picturesque. What you see is what you get. What you've got back there is what you get. Just lots of serenity. And so if you want that sort of setting, this is just picturesque and ideal. Something you can't see from the inside, but I want you to see outside, is you notice what looks like a little building kind of attached here with a hallway. Once upon a time when the house was built, that was the kitchen. When the house was moved here in the early 1990s, and I can't say just 90s because I'd be talking about two different centuries, but when the house was moved here, it became the primary or master bedroom, but it is situated the exact same distance as it was at the original site and original construction, but once that was a kitchen. You didn't want that attached to the house because obviously kitchen fires, and so if you separate that, you eliminate some of that concern. You'll see the historic significance and detail in this house. I can't wait for you to get inside. Come on in. All right, we're coming inside now, and this is just so exciting to me. Again, I said if you're a history buff at all, this one is just so super cool. I love the high ceilings. They're smooth ceilings. That's what was built in the early 1800s. It's what you had. It's before anybody was even thinking about doing popcorn. But I love just the room sizes, the high doorways, the detail and the moldings that you've got. Wide plank heart of pine floors, fireplace. And again, I'll remind you that these fireplaces have been capped off. I did notice in one of the books that talks about some of the history on this house that the chimney stacks that are here for this room as well as the dining room both were replaced in 1954. That was a gift left behind from Hurricane Hazel. So again, part of the history on this house, talking about something from 70 years ago and a hurricane that is kind of the benchmark above all others. It impacted the chimney stacks on here, so they were rebuilt, but everything was still moved here to this site again in the early 1990s. But just the space in this room, thinking about somebody coming over to see you, kind of a good greeting spot when you first come in as a family room. Coming over to the dining room now, you'll see the other fireplace in here. Again, the detail for the mantle around the fireplace. I like just the painting details that are done. That's the underneath side of the staircase. And I'll mention the staircase to you because the stair treads, and I'm not exaggerating, are about this wide. When I go up or down those stairs, I do it sideways because I want to be really, really careful. And so if you come over to see this home, I would caution you to do the same thing. Be super careful on those stairs. But it's part of the history of this house. And so when you're thinking about current codes and that kind of stuff, if you know anything about current code and you're doing that, thinking about it from that mindset, you've got to completely pitch that and think about what would have been acceptable in the early 1800s when our country was just 30 years old. So that's kind of what we're talking about in this home. Again, the heart of pine wide plank floors, storage cubby underneath the stairs here, and then this goes on through to the kitchen. I will draw your attention, there is a door that goes outside right here. You couldn't really see that when we were out front, but there is a exterior entrance to get in. And then when you come into the kitchen here, there's a pantry here and kind of built-in dish or cabinet storage here, a cubby down below. And then the kitchen has been really modernized. So you've got Bosch double oven, KitchenAid induction cooktop, Bosch dishwasher. So all the modern day conveniences and things that if you're a cook at all, you would love being in here. I like the butcher block countertops that are stained wood. It's not something you see very often, but it's one of the character traits of this home that I love. The bathroom counters are done the same way. And so I just love the detail. And again, being the history buff that I am, it's all part of it. There's a back staircase that goes upstairs out of the kitchen as well. So the staircases kind of back up to each other. The other one is right here. And it's kind of a bridge over into sort of a sunroom or study, whatever you wanted to use it as. So it's a couple of steps up, a couple of steps down, back into that same room. That room's behind the family room, off the kitchen. And then it goes out to the deck. There's a door that goes out there, so you can see that as well. Coming down the hallway now, we go back to the primary bedroom, and I love all the doorways in and out of this home. There's one there, and then coming here, you've got the primary bath. It's a double vanity in here with a full shower. And again, I was talking about the wood countertops. That's what you've got in here as well. Coming on down the hall, and that hallway is what you saw from outside. And you could see where we were talking about the kitchen, which is what the room we're in now this is the primary bedroom now. That hallway is the exact distance that these two buildings were apart from each other at original construction. So now as the primary bedroom, it's got dual closets in here. There's a door that goes outside. You could see that from when we were talking about the house from out front. But this is the one working fireplace. It's a wood burning fireplace, and this was added on when this was positioned here. And so from the back side of the house, you can certainly see the vegetation and just the privacy as it looks out over the little river. And then also coming down the hallway, there's a full-size laundry room with great storage in there. It's not a cramped little closet. It was really designed with that. The electrical was done in the house in the early 90s, so everything's been brought up to more modern day standards, so you're not worried about that sort of stuff. Let's go upstairs, but we're going to be real careful on those stairs. Getting to the top of those narrow stairs now, and we get up here and look at the size of this room. It's just awesome. And so think about this as a bedroom, because that's what it is. You've got a view of the pasture and where the horses would be out front if you want that. But just, I love this space. There's a fireplace again in here, again capped, I'll remind you. But you also have a view of the little river and the vegetation and the serenity that's back that way. High ceilings, again, the detailed molding. We come across the hall to the bathroom that's in here, another fireplace that's been capped off, a double vanity. And then when you come in, look at the space in this bathroom. We've got the full shower here. But this is the closet. And so the closet's not actually part of the bedroom. You could put a wardrobe in there. There's plenty of room. But this was designed as just kind of extra attic space when the house was built, but then made accessible and turned into a closet in the years since. The staircase that comes up out of the kitchen that we talked about is kind of having the bridge that goes over. This is where that staircase comes out up here, and it backs up to the other staircase. And then when we come around here, you'll see the angled ceiling right here. That's the underneath of the stairs that go to the third floor, and we're headed up there now. One last narrow staircase coming up to the third floor in the final bedroom in this home. It doesn't have a closet, but again, we're talking about 1805 and not 2025 as far as code requirements and that sort of stuff. But you've got good space up here. This goes to walk-in storage, which now is mechanical. You've got the furnace up there, but I love the lock on the door. It's not even a knob, it's just a wood slide. And so again, part of the historic and architectural significance of this home. I just love these little details. And then you've got windows up here with just a great view. We've come to the backyard now, and this isn't all of the backyard. There's more of it as we get towards the little river, but you can see the back of the house. And one thing that I didn't mention when we were up front talking about the roof on this, it's a metal roof installed by Baker Roofing, and the owners of this property waited for Baker to finish doing the roof at Biltmore before they came to do this one next. So they really, that's really a way of showing the care that they've taken. They really want only the best for this home. And that shows throughout. But back here, I just want you to be able to appreciate the serenity. The well pump is there, and that site is only 82 feet deep. I believe that is correct. Maybe off by a foot or two, but we're gonna go with about 80 feet. and it hits aquifers and granite, so it's natural filtration, and they said the water is delicious in this house. So you've got even that as a benefit here. I talked about the Little River, and I've mentioned it several times, but one thing I want to note is that they've never been required to have flood insurance here. The river has never gotten anywhere near the house, and so that's worth noting as well, because we've talked about that, and that's something that would be on, probably top of mind, but they've never been required to have flood insurance. But this isn't all. Next, we're going to head towards the barn, and I want you to get to see that. The barn now, you see the old siding on it. The front of it's been redone because it was time for some maintenance on the front side of it, but you get to see it. It's an 8-stall barn, as well as kind of an office or workspace, couple of workspaces in there as well. So it's still a functional barn, still in use. There are 2 minis in there, which are just great. They're fun. I always speak to them when I come out here, and it's great. I love to see them out in the pasture as well. We're on the front side of the property. This is kind of on, if you're standing in the street looking at it, the left side part of the 14.5 acres. It's actually 2 parcels that go together. There's the parcel where the house sits, and then this side of it there's an imaginary line down the middle, but both are included with this property. Again, 14.5 acres. I can't wait for you to come out and see the whole thing. Any questions you've got, there's no way I can include all of it in this video. It'd just be too long. All you've got to do is give me a call. More than happy to answer any questions that we can. Would love to show you this home. Clearly, I'm excited about it every time I walk in it. I love the historical significance of it. I love where it is. And on a day like this, it's just spectacular. Thanks so much, and let us know how we can help you.